Alright, hello everybody and welcome to today's video. We have another rare video this time, and you can only imagine it's for something quite significant potentially. And that is the case as we are looking potentially at a significant to major snowstorm, I say snow, keyword, somewhere on the east coast, potentially eastern PA, potentially even central PA, probably not western, by this weekend, probably by Saturday specifically. So first of all, we'll break down the storm. We'll take a look at the snowfall maps. We'll take a look at what I think this is going to trend to in the coming days, as we almost always see a northwest trend hint, as we get closer to the storm. So first of all, let's take a look at where things sit as of Friday morning. There's a few things that I want you to look at right here. I know this is kind of technical, but we'll see what it will lead to in a second. So we have this energy coming down from the northern plains, and we have our main storm in the south central plains. And this is all making its way east at this point. And if this stuff up here didn't exist, chances are this would slide potentially more so out to sea. You probably have still some impact south of New York City, maybe even not that. Just depends on kind of how good the ridge is, and it is probably going to be very good out west. So anyways, so this makes its way into the system as we see in the coming frames. What that does, if you follow that right there, what this does is now suddenly by Saturday 0Z, aka this is actually Saturday at 8 p.m. in the evening, Friday at 8 p.m. in the evening. What am I saying? Come on. Anyways, you have a neutral tilted system, maybe slightly positive still, but on the European it's a little bit neutral. However, on the European model, it's also a little bit further east, which is why it's the surface is a little bit further east. And then you have this piece of energy right here, and this piece of energy right here on the European model. And when we take that out into the future, so right there, and as soon as it makes its way into the southern edge of that, of the trough, really, of the vortex, things turn negative in a hurry. And as a result, you have a big-time coastal storm off of the coast of New England. Let's clear all this stuff out so you can actually see what I'm talking about here. We'll take a look at the snowfall. We'll take a look at the surface map, snowfall in a second. But snowfall maps, even this stuff, doesn't mean too much right now when I show you just how much things have changed. So what we just took a look at, by the way, was the GFS versus the European model. And GFS has honestly been doing a little bit better than the European model so far this season. So, first of all, GFS has a little bit weaker of a low-pressure system. And if it had a little bit of a stronger low-pressure system, you probably would have had better snows in eastern PA. It takes a little bit longer to get going. And as a result, the heaviest snowfall is up actually in the Poconos and in New York State. And, of course, in southern New England. However, what I want you to look at right here is this. It's just where the low pressure is. Right there versus right there. This is going to make such a critical difference in the western edge of this system come Saturday. And by that, I mean you could easily have a foot in Allentown and 3-4 inches in Harrisburg. You could also easily have this line being like that, or where the first line is. But I really don't think it's going to be any further west. I don't think that any of these areas are probably going to get much of anything besides maybe a couple inches of snow out in western PA. Just because of where the high pressure sits and just how late this is going to tilt. Now, when I say that, I instantly remember what happened last storm, and we were like, oh, there's no way you can tilt that early. There's no way that it's going to go right over central PA. And then it ended up doing that. So what we often see is a northwest trend, generally putting things very simply. And so, as a result, could you have a track, when we take a look at what the track was, generally it started right off the coast of Wilmington, worked its way northeast, just like that. Could you have a track that is more like that? And as a result, you have Boston raining and a rain-snow line kind of like that. I know there's a lot of lines on the screen, but kind of like this. I'll highlight it again. And potentially over South Jersey, Southern Maryland, D.C. Although I'm kind of hesitant when I say D.C. because this is going to be a very north to south oriented storm. as far as just where the mix line and where the heaviest axis of the snow is. So basically, what to take away from this is that models are still trending most likely west. It could trend a little bit further east. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. But in general, what we often see is that things tend to trend a little bit further west as we get closer to the storm. We're still 5 days out. That's a lot of time. So if I had to pick anywhere in PA that was going to see the heaviest snow, it would have to be the Poconos. It would have to be, the Poconos, maybe far southeast PA. But just because of ratios, high elevations, and just if the storm takes a little bit longer to get going, it would have to be the Poconos, and you could easily be looking at significant to major amounts in those areas, but there's a lot of ifs that remain. I'll show you this morning's run and then this afternoon's run, and you'll see what I mean. So, we'll take a look at the snowfall map and ignore all the stuff in western PA because that's from the Clipper and that's from Lake Effect today. This is the heart of the storm right here. Right here. So, that's generally the heaviest snow axis. We take a look at this morning's run, and it was all the way up here. So it trended that much further southwest because the storm tilted negative earlier, and the low was a little bit closer to the coast and got going a little bit earlier. So there's nothing to say that in another 12 hours or in another 24 hours, you couldn't have this heaviest snow axis more so over these areas potentially. Probably not that far west. And then let's go to yellow here. Over these areas. And then you could potentially have some mixing in around the I-95 corridor. Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe not Philly, but probably in southern New England. So right now, once again, I'd pick the Poconos. And really for the heaviest snow out of this whole system, I'd 100% pick northern New England. You just have to. The low pressure is going to be most healthy by then. You have the high elevations. You have the high ratios snow. You have the high amounts of precip. It's just, that's where I pick right now. But this is where things sit right now. We're going to be looking at something different by tomorrow. I don't want to completely rule out that parts of southeast PA could maybe not sleet, maybe sleet, or even some rain. But that would require quite the west trend because right now even the Jersey Shore doesn't even rain, So that's where things sit right now. And in general, I'd expect this to shift a little bit further west in the coming few days. We'll definitely keep you updated. I can only imagine we're gonna have scenarios out. Not today, but maybe by Tuesday. Probably more like Wednesday, realistically. And I can kind of give you a preview of those scenarios. You will probably have a sharp cutoff somewhere. Somehow I just got a transparent line. I'm not really sure how that happened. Somewhere, this is a new software, so you're going to have to... Alright, apparently we have some transparency now. So somewhere in central PA. And so you have maybe one line like that, and then another line like that. I know, it's just going to be such a tight gradient. I could easily see, somewhere in eastern PA getting a foot, even foot and a half. In central PA, you get a few inches. So that's where we are right now. I don't think this is going to be a western PA storm. You can kind of rule out all these areas, really. Anywhere west of State College, you can probably rule out. And eastern half of the state is definitely going to be the focus in the coming days. As it typically is with major storms. So we'll see where things go from here. And I will 100% keep you updated. That's the only thing that there's a 100% chance of right now. That I'll keep you updated in the coming days. So everybody, thanks for watching. Stay tuned and stay safe.